What's going on, chums, and welcome back to the latest episode of the A Game with Chums podcast. Me, your host, Rory, as always, joined by the bespectacled Paul, that you also see on your screen.
Hello.
There he is. And we'll start, as we always do, with what you've been playing, what you've been watching, what have you been doing. The weather's been nice, and you've been making the most of it.
The weather's been glorious, Mr. Ross. I'm not much of a sun person. I tend to avoid sun whenever I can. But yesterday I went out for a few drinks down a place called the Gypsy Hill Brewery. They have their own bar there, so we decided to we booked a table. We went down there, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Once everything opens up again, I'm gonna have to take the drunken posse down there.
What is it, like a tap room?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think that's what it's called, tap room. So, but it's a natural pub. It's got outdoors, indoors, beer selection. Or obviously their own brand, but it's still good. Went there. We had a few drinks in the sun. I got. I think the sun affected me more than the beer. You know, when you have sun directly on you, you get sort of like a heat stroke sort of thing. But you know, like I say, I avoid the sun
Heat exhaustion.
I avoid the sun as much as I can. But it was a good time, man. What I've been playing is not much, to be honest. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, been playing that. Obviously Apex, but I've been doing that for the live stream for A Game with Chums Twitch channel. So check that out.
Check it out.
And other than that, not too much. So how about yourself, Mr. Ross? What have you been doing? What have you been playing? What have you been watching?
Well, it was my dad's birthday this weekend, so now that sort of lockdown is easing a bit more, we went up to my brother's for a couple of days and stayed there, and on the Saturday went to a pub for the first time in 14 months.
Yeah,
had an actual pint of beer in a pub, well, outside the pub, but you know what I mean. And it was weird, quite frankly. It was strange and unnatural, and I didn't much care for it. No, it was great. It was the weather's been lovely. I mean, I'm kind of like you. I don't really spend much time in the sun. I
have my curtains even drawn just to block the sun out all of the time, even when it's not sunny. But sorry, continue.
I've opened my blinds up so that
I can see you look more white than normal.
I'm glowing. I'm like angelic.
Yeah. With your ginger beard and your white face, you look like a leprechaun or something.
Well, it's because the light in my room is like over one side for some reason. It's not in the middle of the fucking ceiling. So I've had to open the blinds to let some light in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the weather's been nice. But I do tend to stay out of the sun. If there's like a spot in the shade, that's where I'll sit. And but yeah, we had a couple of beers and a meal at this pub, and then went back and sort of sat in my brother's garden, had a couple more drinks.
Cool.
And
what have you been playing? What have you been watching?
I finally finished Near Replicant, which is very, very overexposed here. Finally got all 5 endings, did all the side quests and everything. I think the only thing I didn't do is like the weapon upgrading, because that's just a lot of grinding and I couldn't be bothered. I think I put 60 odd hours into it, and the main thing wanted to just do all the endings. So I added a new one this time, ending E, which wasn't in the original, so I wanted to see that. And finished that Thursday or Friday, I think. And then just made a start on Mass Effect before we went to my brother's. So I've only done Eden Prime so far and just got to the Citadel, and that's where I've had to leave it. But it feels good to be playing Mass Effect again. I've played that game, Mass Effect 1, 6 times maybe, but I haven't played it since Mass Effect 3 came out. The last time I played it I did like a trilogy marathon when 3 came out. So it's been almost a decade since I played it. It feels good to be playing it again. It feels really nice at 60 FPS. You can tell they've definitely like tightened up the aiming. The aiming feels quite different than it did in the original game, but it feels pretty good. So I'm not going to complain about that. And it does actually look quite nice. Like, I know they kind of didn't it's not like a remake or anything. It's a remaster, and they've done like AI upscaled textures and stuff, but it does actually look really nice for a game that's 14 years old this year. So I'm pretty happy with it actually as a remaster. I think people are kind of giving it a lot of shit, saying, "Oh, it's like a bare bones remaster," and they could have done so much more with it, but they've done more with it than most remasters. Most remasters just like up the resolution and sell you the same game. Like I remember the Dishonored. I love Dishonored, but the Dishonored remaster that came out last gen on the PS4 and the Xbox One, literally just 1080p, and it was still at 30 FPS, and that was pretty much all they did. That's kind of par for the course with the remaster, but this one I think it's actually a pretty good remaster. I'm quite pleased with it.
Cool.
And what I've been watching, I've mentioned the last couple of podcasts that I was marathoning Ruby. I finally finished that, so I'm up to date on Ruby. Some shit went down in season 8, and I was gonna start watching Castlevania because a friend of mine was telling me that there was some crazy fight scene in one of the latest episodes. Instead, I ended up watching To Your Eternity, which I don't know if you've heard of.
No.
It's currently showing on Crunchyroll. There's like 7 or 8 episodes of it at the moment. I've only watched the first one. I'm not really sure what to make of it. It starts off with like a ball coming from outer space turning into a rock. Then a wolf dies on it and it turns into a wolf. And then it friends a boy, and then the boy dies and it becomes the boy. It's just very weird. I don't know what the hell's going on at the moment. I guess I'll crack on with it and see where it goes. But as we are recording this in the evening, Paul, do you have yourself a beverage?
I do.
That's the important question.
I have a beverage. I'm drinking a can of Estrella. I can see here you got your German Steiner.
Stein, yeah.
Stein glass. What's in that?
This is a Stein that you and me got when we went to that beer festival a few years ago.
Yeah.
Remember they gave
what is
part
it?
of your ticket price was a Stein. That is Doom Bar. I had a couple of frosty Doom Bars in the fridge, so
cool.
Availing myself of Cornwall's finest.
Absolutely.
But on to the next topic of conversation. Video game news for the last couple of weeks. What's been happening?
It's been a bit of a slow one, but there have been things happening. We had the rumored Switch Pro. That's been rumored to coming out sometime later this year. I think September. So
I think the rumors are sort of September. I think they said it's going to be quite small numbers though because of the ongoing chip shortage.
Of course. Well, it's Nintendo as well, so they always bloody
they do like to manufacture scarcity.
Yeah. So you get to play Animal Crossing in 4K glory, so that's something. Myself personally, I probably won't get one because I don't play my Switch enough to justify getting an upgrade. I'm quite happy with how the Switch is at already because it's my secondary console. It's like something I can take, portable, take around. It's not my main console like the Xbox, so I probably will give that a miss. I'm surprised it took Nintendo this long because when did the Switch come out? 2015, 16?
17.
So it's
March 2017.
It's taken them a fair while to release a pro version, a more powerful version. But that's...
I suppose it depends where they go from there. If they're going to do sort of an upgraded one every, say, 4 years or something. But I'm quite interested in it because, I mean, similar to you, my Switch doesn't actually get much use. I don't think I've used it in a year. Last thing I used it for was when the Xenoblade Chronicles remaster came out, and I'm pretty sure that was May last year.
Yeah.
But part of that is that games just look really ropey on it, especially now with like the PS5 and the Series X out, and you've got like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 drops down to like 360p at points, and it just looks really messy. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of tempted by the idea of a more powerful handheld. And it's supposedly got DLSS on it to help it sort of like get up to higher resolutions, which is like AI enhanced super resolution stuff, which is also on NVIDIA's PC cards. So I'm interested to see how it shakes out. I'm very interested in it. Whether I buy one or not, don't know. I mean, I'd imagine the choice will be made for me when they put out 5 units of it for the UK market. So I probably won't be able to get one even if I decide I want one. But,
yeah.
Be watching it. It'd be interesting to see how it goes either way.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? The the new Horizon Zero Dawn, or what's it called? Horizon Forbidden West.
Forbidden West.
Yeah. There was gameplay footage, about 14 minutes of it. It looks bloody amazing. I'll tell you that.
It does look great.
Yeah.
It's very colourful.
Yeah. I think I'm preferring. It's set in San Francisco, right? And it looks very colourful. It's more colourful than the original. I quite like this tropical aesthetic that it's got.
It looks very saturated.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. I mean, I really like the first game, and obviously I don't have a PS5 yet. I don't really have any plans to get one anytime soon. But it doesn't have a date yet either. They've been saying it's 2021 since they announced it last year, and then they show this gameplay. This is the first gameplay we've seen as well in May 2021, and they still haven't put a date on it. So I'm kind of skeptical it'll actually come out this year. But I'm kind of hoping they expand to PC a bit more, and then even if it's like a couple of years down the line, put it on PC, and I'll probably play it there. It looks great, and I really like the first game, and that's on PC. So.
Can I jump on what you said about the PC?
Please do.
Sony don't really they tend to stick to their own sort of platforms, but there's been rumors that more PlayStation games will be heading to PC. There was even a rumor that the Uncharted game, the Uncharted 4, was going to come to PC. Now that's a big rumor. It's just a rumor, but I saw that floating around.
I think it was in some of their internal documents.
That's right.
Their earnings call or something. I didn't look too. I saw it come up. I didn't look too closely into it, but I think that's what the source of it was.
Yeah. Well, do you think like Sony games should come out on PC, or do you reckon it should just stay on their platform?
I think if they think they can get more eyes on their games and sort of make a bit more money doing it that way, it makes sense. It's a good thing to do. And there are people that maybe play on PC that will maybe pick up a PlayStation for the exclusives, but I think that's probably a fairly small amount, really. I think most PC players are just kind of content to play on PC. Yeah, and it's kind of like you see like all the Microsoft stuff coming to PC now. It's people would be like, if your games come to me, fine. If not, I'm happy anyway. And now Microsoft are seeing a lot of success with their games on Steam. Sea of Thieves is almost always in the top sellers on Steam. That's doing really well. And I think it's a good idea. I mean, if you want to look after your console fan base first and foremost, fair enough. Put it on PS5 and then a year down the line stick it on PC for extra sales or something like that, and then at least maybe those ones that would be tempted to buy a PS5 would just go, fuck it, I'm not waiting a year, I'll buy a PS5. Whereas people like me will be like, that's fine, I'll wait a year and then play it on PC. It saves me not having to buy another piece of hardware that I won't really use. So I think I've mentioned this before, like I got the PS4 the April after it came out, and I got the Xbox One at launch in November, and then the following April I got the PS4, and the PS4 just didn't really get used much. I think I played like a dozen games on it over the last 7 years, and I kind of don't want to do that again. I don't want to spend 400 quid on a piece of hardware just to have it kind of sit there doing nothing most of the time. So if their stuff's going to start coming to PC more frequently, then I'll be very pleased, because then I'll happily wait a year and just play it there.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, what's the? Sorry. That answered my question. Yeah. Cool. I just wanted to get your perspective on it, because I don't think that's an interesting topic, isn't it? Like, because I know some people are for it, and there's a lot of people who are against it, because obviously you got the ones, the diehard fanboys who just want it to be on PlayStation.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had the same thing when Microsoft announced they were going to start putting their stuff on PC. I remember going back when Quantum Break was in development and Microsoft announced that it was going to come to PC as well. And a lot of Xbox fanboys were very upset about it. And it's just like the same thing now with PlayStation fanboys. It just makes the game more accessible to more people. Like, I don't really understand the whole I'm loyal to a plastic box thing. Like, if I'm loyal to anything, it's the games. And if I love a game, then I want more people to play it, really. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be some considerations around that. You're not going to get Uncharted on an Xbox or Halo on a PlayStation, but if you can expand to another sort of tertiary platform like PC, I don't see why you wouldn't really.
Yeah.
Kind of an untapped market in that sense.
Yeah.
But 2021, Paul, is the 30th
2021
anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog, everybody's favorite blue hedgehog guy with
and
attitude.
is a rumor of a, or it's not a rumor. It's a new Sonic game coming out. And to be honest, I'm not really bothered, man. I'm not really a big Sonic fan. It's been a lot of bad Sonic games more than they've been good. And I think probably the last one I played was the one that came out on Switch, which was what was that? No, it didn't come out on Switch. It came out on all platforms, but I remember playing it on Switch.
Was it Sonic Mania or Sonic Forces? You're thinking
Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania. Yeah, that was. I think we actually made a video of that. So I think that was the last time I played it. But
Sonic Forces is the last like new Sonic game that came out, and I still haven't played that one. And I quite like the 3D boost formula games. They are kind of crap, but the boost formula stuff, like speeding through 3D levels, is actually quite fun.
Yeah.
This new one is supposedly an open world game of some description, and people are saying, "What it's going to be like Sonic of the Wild or something." Yeah. And apparently, it's called Sonic Rangers, and somebody leaked that, and then Sega put out a press release, not having announced the name, put out a press release with the name in it, and people are like, they accidentally confirmed the name is Sonic Rangers. I think it's coming out next year sometime. But I mean, I'm not looking. I'm not going to blindly look forward to it because there hasn't been a really good Sonic game in quite a while, and I think the hate for the Sonic franchise is a little bit overblown. They're decent games. They're not terrible. They're just not great. They're very average, really. And who knows? Maybe this one breaks the streak. But the racing games are actually genuinely really good. The Sonic racing games are great. The Sumo Digital ones. It's just a shame the last one, Team Sonic Racing, had to do this whole like team gameplay thing, which was nobody really asked for.
Okay.
Kind of put a bit of a dent in it unnecessarily, I think. But that's coming out next year, so we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah, cool. But what's the main topic of this podcast, Mr. Ross?
It's getting really difficult to put that over there. The main topic of this podcast also ties into our last bit of news for the week, which is Microsoft officially announced their E3 date, which is June 13th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. British summertime. Wherever that is for the rest of the year around the world. I don't know time zones. I'm bad at stuff like that. That's on a Sunday, so Sunday at a reasonable hour. Microsoft does tend to do a reasonable hour for Europe, which is always nice. I remember Sony's always being at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's not good for us. No.
Yeah, it kind of sucked sitting up waiting for those. But yeah, so our main topic for the week is looking forward to E3. What are we hoping to see? What do we expect to see?
Well, what I'm hoping for is obviously games. Lots of them. New games.
I hadn't thought of that.
New games. New IPs. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I think there's no PlayStation this time, is there? Again, there's no place. They're not.
I don't think there is. They haven't announced anything at this point anyway, so I wouldn't assume so.
Because a lot of people saying that E3 is becoming irrelevant because, like each like big company have their own sort of like PlayStation have PlayStation. What's their one? They have PlayStation State of Play, and Nintendo have their own one. Xbox Xbox have their own one now. So like people saying like, is E3 really necessary? I still like the whole event of E3. I like E3.
I mean, do as well.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to. I always have it on my calendar. Like E3's coming up this year, something to look forward to. I do like sitting there. I like a kid at Christmas, really, just like the anticipation and the like to find out what's going to be released, what new games. And I still think it's relevant. I still think it has a place, especially like now that they've let fans in. Obviously, you can't do that at the moment with the current situation, but they were letting just regular people because it just used to be a press. Well, like
it was just a trade show, wasn't it?
It's just a trade show. Like so, you just had like important people go there, like company people go there. But now they opened it up, so it's like a proper convention now, which is cool. And that was always on my list. Like it sort of kills two birds with one stone, going to America and going to E3. But you know, like I mean, like I still want to. I would like to go, and go to E3 just to experience it. I know like a lot of YouTubers and people say with the fans there, it's just crazy because it's so busy. But I always think to myself, why do you get to like enjoy E3?
And
why
tell
can't
us
we?
not to
Yeah,
go.
and tell us not to go. They always go, oh, the first days are good, and then they let the fans in, and then it just gets a bit crazy. I'm just like, oh,
Well, fuck
yeah,
you.
yeah, thanks, yeah, cheers. Yeah, but what am I looking for? Obviously, with it's always a thing with recently with Xbox. Everyone's always because everyone's always wants expecting them to because to sort of like announce new games because that's what we've been like last gen. They didn't have that great a time with exclusive games to their platform. Kind of like Sony did dominate last gen. So yeah, I'm hoping. Well, I'm hoping for new game announcements from Microsoft because from what I do know, I know there's a new Perfect Dark, new Fable. Maybe there'll be some gameplay footage of that. But that's something I've already heard and been confirmed that's going to be it's already coming. But I would like to, yeah,
A new surprise.
new surprise, and I think they will. They always sort of there's always like an announcement and something like a big topic that there's a big announcement that they always say for the last. I'm hoping like Phil Spencer will come out there with his geeky t-shirts,
His t-shirt,
yeah, and excuse me, and wow us with like with a surprise announcement. Who knows, like maybe like revive one of their old franchises, a sequel to something. Who knows, like or a completely new IP, or they could announce another studio acquisition. Yeah.
I will
So
say there's been no rumors thus far. That doesn't necessarily mean there won't be any, but there hasn't been any rumblings on that front. So it will be a surprise if that does happen.
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. Sorry, you can say.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like E3. It's pretty much video games Christmas, and for a few years people have been saying, oh, it's becoming more and more irrelevant. They should just kill it off and all this. And then last year, because of the pandemic, obviously they just cancelled it outright. And then you had the Summer Games Fest or whatever it was that Jeff Keighley put together, which was like Jeff Grubb called it Summer Games Mess, and he was on the fucking money with that because it was just a complete mess. It was just loads of little bits and pieces spread over weeks, and I really like that E3 is like condensed down to like a few days of just crazy hype and ridiculous stage shows, and all the news is just like packed into like 3 or 4 days, and it's just like a big like sugar bomb of video game news. And when you spread it out over like have small announcements over a period of weeks, it doesn't really feel special. It feels like that could happen at any time. So I'm pleased it's back, even though it's still a digital thing and it's not E3 quite as we knew it. But I'm happy it's coming back. And another reason I'm happy is because Microsoft had their showcase in July last year, and it just means we won't have to wait as long this time because it's a month earlier. But are there any studios in particular you're looking forward to see if they'd announce anything, or you just want new IPs?
I can't. Obviously, you got the Bethesda thing, but I think they're saving that for their. I know Xbox are doing their own. Was it Xbox and Bethesda doing it?
Yeah, it's a joint 90-minute.
So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Oh shit! Like, I'm trying to think. Like Xbox have got so many studios now that it's kind of hard to pick out one that. I do like particular studio. I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm probably hoping more for gameplay footage because I want to see how the new Fable looks. I want to see. I just want to actually see. Yeah, that's probably what I want, like just gameplay footage. Because we've had like teasers, we had that like that pre-rendered cinematic teaser with the frog
with the
eating
fairy getting
fairy.
munched on.
Yeah, but I would like some actual gameplay. That's what I want.
They might bring gameplay because it was last July they actually announced it, and they didn't have anything to show then. But apparently, it's supposedly been in some kind of production since like 2018. So
yeah, I'm hoping for something like that. Yeah, like
it'd be nice if they had something to show.
Just something to show, because obviously, like Sony had the Horizon Forbidden West gameplay, and it looked really good, really good. So I'm hoping for something that some gameplay footage they can show for their which is probably going to be their flagship RPG, I think, because they're reviving one of their popular IPs.
And it's by Playground, who know how to put an open world together.
Yeah. But
it'd be interesting to see how they kind of transition from, given they're both open world games, but from like a open world racing game to an open world sort of RPG adventure game. I mean, I know they've basically built an entire second studio for it, and they've brought in loads of people with like specific talents in those areas, obviously. So they're hiring for those kind of talents. So it's not like it's just going to be like Forza Horizon 2 now. They're making Fable, but it'd be interesting to see because they started up sort of towards the end of the 360 gen, really, and all they've done so far is Forza Horizon. They've put out 4 Forza Horizon games, and that's it. So it will be interesting to see how they sort of transition from one genre to the next. But yeah, I'm hoping we see something of it because it was announced 10 months ago now with that CGI trailer back in July last year. It was like their one final thing of that stream. But it's been kind of an open secret for like 3 years or more. Back in 2017, they were looking for a publisher for an open world RPG, and then sometime in 2018, it was kind of leaked out that they were actually working on Fable. So they've been doing work on it for probably 3, maybe even 4 years at this point. So
yeah, I'll be
but
hello.
I lost you for a second there.
No.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, sorry, you were saying
I lost you for a second there.
You're probably going to have to say that again, mate. What you just said. No, you cut out.
What did I say last? What was the last thing you heard me say?
Oh fuck. I can't remember.
This is going to be another one that needs some editing.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, apologies if there was a bit of rough cut there. Zoom troubles, as often seems to be happening these days. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to see Fable, but hopefully we will. Fingers crossed, we might see something. And
Yeah.
But what about things we definitely know is going to be there? We know Halo Infinite is going to be there for sure. What do you think they'll show of Halo?
The improved. Well, people all complained about like the sort of rough graphics of it all. So I'm hoping they obviously they want to show off how much better it looks now. Yeah, obviously it's just gameplay footage, man. Like, that's all I want to see, really. Like, what else is there to see? That's what you're there for. You want to see gameplay footage. You want to see how it plays. I know they already showed it, and it did look a bit rough around the edges. So
it looked fun though. It looked like Halo.
It looked fun. Obviously, it's open world, and there's a bloody map on there, so that's going to be interesting. Everyone seems to be doing open world these days, so I guess Halo wants to join in with that.
Well, apparently, like the internal pitch for it was supposedly Halo crossed with Starfield, Halo crossed with Skyrim. So Given how much I loved Skyrim, I'm kind of up for that, to be honest. If just give me like a Halo ring and let me explore it and put interesting stuff there to be found, like ruins to dive through and stuff. What I'm hoping for is they do a gameplay. Like I've been following like the Xbox thread on Reset here, and people have been saying, "Oh, they should just show exactly the same demo again, but just with visual improvements." I'm like, no, show me something different. I'd like to see, like maybe like show off like assaulting a banished base or something, and like show why it's open world. Like you can take different approaches to go in, or you can do like doing other objectives first makes it more interesting to assault the base later or something like that. Show me why Halo is open world now. Show me what those sort of systems and mechanics are doing for the series. That's what I'd like to see. Bring Joe Staten out and just let him do a tailored sort of deep dive gameplay footage thing explaining why Halo is now open world. It sounds really simplistic when I say it. I'm sure it's a very complex thing for them to do, but that's what I want to see. And also multiplayer. They need to show multiplayer at some point. That's going free to play. I'd imagine probably either a big mode they're going to do or arena will be free to play. So they need to show that off. And I'm nervous about Halo Infinite multiplayer because I love Halo 5's multiplayer. And there are some very vocal people that didn't like it. And I have a feeling they're going to get listened to and I'm not. So all the stuff I love in 5 is probably going to disappear. So I'm very nervous about the multiplayer. So I need to see that either put my mind at ease or put me out of my misery. Yeah, I think I'm hoping it will look better than it did last time. I mean, I watched that demo, and obviously the stream was compressed and everything, and it was kind of low quality. I watched it and I was like, oh, it looks so good. And then I went online and I was like, it looks bad, does it? And like watching a cleaned up video, yeah, I can see people saying it looked a bit flat and stuff, but I don't think it looked bad. But it was also a video game being made in the middle of a pandemic, 6 months out from release at that point. And since then, they've had an extra year, and they've still got probably 6 months to go to polish it up. So I'd imagine it'll probably look a lot nicer. And yeah, also date, obviously, put a date on it because it still doesn't have a date.
Well, it's refreshing to have like a studio that will actually push back a game. And
an entire year as well.
Yeah, they'll push it back because a lot of people complain about games like being released incomplete and just having being patched. So yeah, I'm sort of pleased that they took the decision to delay the release so they can polish it. They listened to people's criticisms. They were like, yeah, we take that on board. We're going to push it. It's a bold decision because it's a flagship game as well to put. And it was it going to be a console?
It was the launch game. Yeah.
Launch game.
It was the only launch game.
So yeah, and to release a new console with no launch game is pretty
bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah, but they listened. It's like I know people will say, well, it should have been ready beforehand. But
yeah, it should have been, but it wasn't. So
it wasn't. You know. Like you say, this pandemic and things are. It was like obviously like it disrupted the production of the game. And some people commended them for pushing it back, and other people obviously would like fans and even haters were saying that we'll have to wait another year to play it.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes Halo fans are indistinguishable from haters. That's why I don't talk about Halo online.
Yeah. But besides from Halo, what are you? Like, should we like talk about who else is going to be there? It's not just Microsoft. It's going to be the normal suspects going to be there. Obviously, like Bethesda now with Xbox, so that's blended into one. You've got EA, but they're probably just going to show sports games.
They do their EA Play stream, don't they?
So then
that is.
So they're not going to be at E. Who's going to be at E3 this year?
Do you know what? I don't know. I should have done my research.
We should have done our research.
Konami, apparently. They announced they were going to be there in some fashion. God knows why they don't make games anymore.
Yeah.
I think Square is supposed to be doing something.
Right.
They'll probably just come out and say everything we make is PS5 exclusive now. Bye, because apparently that's a thing now.
That seems to be happening a lot now, doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Got Final Fantasy 16 is a timed exclusive. Forspoken is exclusive in some fashion. And now there's rumors of a new Final Fantasy spin-off game that is fully exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah, of course.
Rumor seems to be it's being made by Team Ninja, and it's kind of like a Souls-like style game set in the world of the first Final Fantasy. So I'm guessing, given that's leaked out pretty comprehensively, a lot of people insiders seem to know about that. So I'm guessing that's going to be shown at E3 for them. Final Fantasy 16. I'm hoping they show more of that, because despite the fact that I won't be able to play it, I'm excited for it, because like some of the main stuff from Final Fantasy 14's Heaven's Ward expansion are working on that, and Heaven's Ward was amazing. So I'm very excited for that, and simultaneously incredibly pissed off that I'll have to wait at the least 6 months to play it, because I think it's 6 months till it hits PC and then a year till it hits Xbox, which sucks, because Final Fantasy has been a multi-platform series for the last decade, and now it's going back the other way again, and it's just very annoying. So that'll probably be Square Enix.
I've got a list here of people, of attendees. So you got the PC game.
You did some on-the-fly research.
Yeah, you got the PC gaming show. You got Nintendo who's going to be there. You have Square Enix, obviously Ubisoft are going to be there. So they're going to probably release another Assassin's Creed game.
I think it's a year off this year for Assassin's Creed.
So what else is there that they milk? What's the other one? What's the other
Anything
franchise?
with Tom Clancy in the title.
Yeah, and maybe another Watch Dogs. Who knows?
They only put one out last year, so you wouldn't think so.
Hey, you never know, man. Come on.
They do have like 40,000 employees or whatever.
Yeah. Obviously, you got Konami, you got Activision. So I expect another another map or something like that for one of the.
Activision have less games than EA do.
Yeah. Okay, you got Gearbox. So what Gearbox? The Borderlands something.
Borderlands.
Yeah. And you got Warner Brothers. Are they going to? Warner Brothers have got are going to.
They're going to come out and go, "We're shutting down.
We've been bought
out. We're getting sold off.
We're being bought out by Xbox. So Batman will be. I don't know. Like
they've been spun off, haven't they? The whole Warner Media group have been spun off and merged with Discovery, which was another big story in the last couple of weeks that we forgot about. And I think the studio is a part of that. So who knows?
And you also got you got Bandai Namco. Tales. There is a new Tales game, isn't there?
There is Tales of Arise coming out in September.
What's that?
And they're also putting out Scarlet Nexus, which I put some gameplay video of up on the channel. Go and check it out, because no one's watched it.
Please watch it.
It's got like 9 views, guys. Please watch it.
He's released 2 videos of that, and it would be very nice if you guys could someone can go watch it.
I used this mic for it and everything, and it was a mistake, because all you can hear is clicking buttons.
It's difficult, like, to get because when I record videos, I sometimes hear button clicking, and it's quite distracting. It's just like, I don't know how do you mask that? Like I think it depends on your mic, really, to be honest with you. Like your mics, sometimes some mics just pick up everything, and sometimes mics, if it only picks you up if you're really close to the mic. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much all the. Like, you've got Sega going to be there. Wait, no, they're just a confirmed partner. They've not got a showcase, so
maybe they'll show trailers at someone else's.
Yeah, someone else's.
I could see them maybe showing a Judgment 2. Lost Judgment, as it's called, trailer at the Xbox show or something, because that's confirmed coming to the Xbox.
EA are going to be there, but I don't know if it doesn't say they got a showcase, but they're going to be there. Obviously, third party, like other platforms, will be showcasing the game. Maybe a new Dragon Age gameplay. I mean, that's been confirmed, but there's no.
Well, they've said they're working on it, but who knows how far out it is.
I don't know if there probably maybe be some conceptual art or something like that.
Another one of those videos where they show people sitting at computers.
Yeah.
But there's rumored to be a Battlefield this year as well, isn't there? So I imagine that will show up at someone's conference. There are actually rumors that Battlefield will be on Game Pass day one. So if that's the case, it might come up at Microsoft's show.
I mean, like EA and Microsoft seem to have a pretty chummy relationship.
With the whole EA Play thing on Game Pass.
But I think the big boy, he's obviously is Xbox. People want to see what they're
£500 gorilla.
People want to see what they're all these studio acquisitions and everything. What's it going to produce? You know, I think that's what people are getting a bit frustrated that they're not seeing actual gameplay footage. Then we all know there's games in development, but everyone wants to actually see footage of how it's going to look.
Listen, they bought Ninja Theory 3 years ago, and we got Bleeding Edge.
Oh yeah, that game. Yeah, that game that died. I think is it still going? I mean, have you actually played it?
I've played it, just not in a very long while. It's a shame because it was fun, but there were some issues. I played a game. It was like a capture the point game, and when one team captures the point, it's supposed to randomize, and it picked the point that the other team was sitting on like 4 times in a row, so we could never do anything to get them off the point, which sucked. But yeah, it's a shame because it feels like a fun concept, but it maybe needed more time and attention. But I think the whole team I think it's basically done now in terms of development. They're not going back to it. It's still live, but no, they're not ongoing. There's no ongoing development. And I think Rani Tucker, the creative director on it, is now like the game director on Hellblade 2. So Hellblade 2, maybe we'll see Hellblade 2. Insiders are saying it won't be there, but who knows? It was a year and a half ago it was announced. Wouldn't be bad to show gameplay now.
Yeah, I would like to see something.
I'd be up for that. I love Hellblade 1. What else have we got? I think the main thing, the one game that people are going to be talking about that is going to be kind of the 2021 E3 game is probably going to be Starfield from Bethesda, which multiple insiders have basically confirmed that it will be there, but it's not coming out until late next year.
That's been sorry, like to cut you off there, Ross. That's confirmed to be an exclusive to Xbox. That's not coming out. I mean,
all the insiders are saying that's the case, and it makes sense. I mean, they own Bethesda. Why would they?
Well, because people get but people get annoyed, Ross. They get annoyed. They want it to be on their platform.
Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be. I think it's probably 99.99% Xbox and PC. And I get it. Microsoft came in and bought Bethesda, and before that, no one would have assumed they wouldn't be able to play Starfield or the next Elder Scrolls or the next Fallout on PlayStation. But that is going to be the case. And if you want to play them, you're going to have to play them on PC or Xbox. And I understand that that's going to piss people off. Yeah, absolutely within their rights to feel pissed off about that. But that is the reality, and people are going to have to come to terms with it eventually.
Last gen, Sony did pay for a lot of timed exclusives. I remember Nier Automata was exclusive for Xbox to PlayStation for like a year or so, wasn't it? Remember that was I know obviously Final Fantasy Remake that exclusivity deal has now run out, so it can be ported to other platforms.
It ran out last month, and then they announced the Intergrade version and said that will be 6 months exclusive.
Oh, bloody hell.
So it's probably going to be next year by the time you see that on anything other than a PlayStation. But yeah, I mean, they're doing it this gen as well. I mean, they seem to be going harder at it this gen. They've signed up.
Also, Hellblade as well. Hellblade as well. That was
exclusive. But I think that was just the fact that
No Man's Sky
quite small. No Man's Sky for sure.
Yeah.
But,
for sure.
But yeah, I think Hellblade was just one of those instances where they were like, we're a small team, we're just going to put it on the bigger platform, and then we'll see where it goes after that. Because that ended up coming to everything. I don't think that was a deal as such. I think it was just like the realities of them being an independent developer. But obviously, like you had Street Fighter 5, completely fully exclusive, never came to Xbox, which is one of the worst fucking deals in the history of gaming, if you ask me, because that is, think of the pedigree of Street Fighter, how far back that goes. It's been on everything, and it's a cultural touchstone, Street Fighter, and they locked that down forever. And people praised them for it, and people gave shit to Microsoft for like signing a time deal for Rise of the Tomb Raider for 1 year.
Yeah.
And like, to be clear, I think all this shit is awful, but locking down a game for eternity like that is shit. Like if you don't own the developer, then yeah, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to complain about never playing an Insomniac game on an Xbox again because they're owned by Sony. But they don't own Capcom, but somehow they own effectively Street Fighter 5 because no one else can play it anywhere else.
You were saying before I cut you off about they seem to be doing more time exclusives this generation, and we've only been in this generation for like
6 months.
6 months, yeah. So yeah, I've noticed that a lot more.
Well, I mean, there's bigger ones as well, like Final Fantasy 16. That's timed for a year, 6 months on PC. Then Forspoken, the new Square Enix IP, and then this new spin-off Final Fantasy game, and then Deathloop and Ghostwire for a year, which are actually owned by Microsoft now, so that's a bit of a weird one. And there's a rumor doing the rounds today, I don't know how credible it is, that they're trying to lock down the next BioShock as well.
Really?
And to bring us full circle a bit, it was leaked out last year. They were trying to secure timed exclusivity on Starfield.
That didn't really work out, did it?
I mean, they seem to be going absolutely nuts with the timed exclusivity stuff this year, and it's gonna kind of suck.
I mean, like, we could actually like have a whole podcast about what we think about timed exclusive. Whole podcast episode about what we think about timed exclusive deals, because it is an interesting. I mean, like everyone does it, and some people praise it. When how can I say this? When one company does it, it's bad. When another company does it, it's the best. It's a good piece of business. It makes sense, but
I think part of that is the discrepancy in like the console audiences. There are just more PlayStation owners to complain about it when Xbox does it, and there are Xbox players.
I was trying to dance around the names, but you just said it. So,
well, I mean, it was fairly obvious, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it benefits anyone except the platform holder. So I don't see why anyone would champion it. Like, if you play on, for example, you play on PlayStation, they sign up a game for a year's exclusivity. You get nothing from that. You were already going to get the game. All that means is people on the other console don't get it. That's not a benefit to you. That's a benefit to Sony, because then they'll convince more people to buy consoles. It doesn't benefit the player. Well, obviously, the same if Xbox do it. It doesn't benefit the audience that is already there. It might be a positive to someone looking to buy in, but if you're already on the platform, it literally gives you no benefit, and I don't understand why people champion it. Sucks.
Yeah. But anyway, like, we'll go back around to E3.
Kind of went off on a tangent.
Went on the tangent. It's a good thing. It's interesting. Like we could have had a whole episode on timed exclusivities, good or bad thing.
Maybe we will do it at some point.
Maybe we'll
topic to discuss.
We'll get more in depth to it. But yeah, E3, like we said, I still look forward to it. It's something. It's like a build up. Like it's like a showcase. That's what it is. It's a showcase. What new games and new gear and new equipment's coming to.
Well, I mean, like, this is an entertainment medium. We play video games because they're fun, and when a bunch of new games get announced, that's like, ooh, more fun coming. So yeah, I mean, I get excited about it. But yeah, I do think Starfield is probably going to be the big game this year, because obviously it's like the new IP from the people that made Skyrim and Fallout 3, and first new IP in like 20 odd years or something.
Speaking of another game that I'm hoping to hear more about, but it seems to have disappeared. Like, it was announced a few years ago. There was actual. No, I don't think it was gameplay. I think it was just it was a CGI trailer. But Beyond Good and Evil 2. I mean, what's happened to that? It's just.
I'm skeptical as to whether or not that even exists. To be quite honest,
it's one of those things, isn't it? Well, do you reckon it was just a big troll? Just trolling.
I mean, what they showed was like absurdly impressive, and just, I mean, did you see like the like deep dive talk video they put out where they were like they were in a city and then they got on a ship and then they went out into orbit and got into another bigger ship and went to another planet? Like, this is just nuts. Surely they can't make this, but who knows? But yeah, I'm kind of skeptical whether that is just literally in the concepting phase at this point and just doesn't really exist as a game.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those games where they had big ideas. They showed big ideas.
Scaled back.
It'll have to be scaled back because I don't even think a good PC can probably do that. So, it's exciting. It's interesting. I mean, like, even like big ideas are always good, but it's just the hardware. Like,
it's whether you can actually execute
it. But yeah, like Beyond Good and Evil 2, I would like something, but I don't think there will be. I think it's just going to be like secretly killed off. Yeah,
like the guy, is it Michel Ancel, the guy that made Beyond Good and Evil? He's not even at Ubisoft anymore, so
yeah,
it may well have been just quietly killed off behind the scenes. And they recently announced also that do you remember Skull and Bones? Remember that game?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, what's happening with that?
They've basically gone back to the drawing board with it.
Oh, really? Jesus.
I went back and looked at like threads when that was announced. People like, rip Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And like, not only is Sea of Thieves going to be dead, we're all going to be dead by the time that game comes out.
Yeah, I mean, Sea of Thieves is just, it is, a lot of people were expecting it to die, and there was a lot of detractors to that. I remember even like a lot of games channels on YouTube that I really respect were ripping into it. And it kind of annoyed me because, like, from day one they always said we're going to add to the game. What we're releasing is not going to be the same in like, say, a year or 6 months from now. It's going to be different. This is the whole point of the game. And people just did not give it a chance. But the people who did, they love it, and they've been playing it since day one. And it's only gotten bigger and bigger, and the player base has increased, I think.
There are people that genuinely say that's their favorite game of all time. It is incredibly unique.
Yeah, it is. And I thought, people will say, like, this is what Rare's doing now. They're making this.
Making a game that's probably sold multiple millions of copies. As I mentioned earlier, every time it goes on sale on Steam, it ends up back in the like top 1 or 2 bestsellers. It must have sold millions on Steam.
Yeah. So I always think that Rare is not the same Rare. The people were there all left, and when they were making like Conkers and Bad Fur Day and all that back for the Nintendo, for what was it, Nintendo N64, wasn't it? So what were they making Conkers for? Yeah, it was in N64, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back in those days. It's a completely different company now, and this is the game they wanted to make. I don't think Microsoft's saying, well, we want a pirate game.
That's the thing. They've always made whatever they want to make. That's kind of like, people have always kind of pushed this agenda, or this angle rather, that Microsoft like forced them into making Kinect games or making avatars and stuff. But they were the ones that drove that. If anything, like Rare staffers have come out and said, no, they were too hands off. They should have been a bit more hands on. They should let us do whatever the hell we want. And they were like, leadership at Rare was like, Kinect looks like it could be fun. Let's see what we can do with it. And then you get Kinect Sports and all that stuff.
Not great.
But yeah, they've always kind of guided their own sort of Destiny, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't. People say Microsoft killed them, and honestly, the last game they made for Nintendo was fucking garbage, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
Which was Star Fox Adventures, which was a Star Fox rip-off of Ocarina of Time, which was, I thought it was terrible, honestly. So I think if you want to point to where Rare started going downhill, it was their last Nintendo game. But people don't really want to hear that because it isn't going with the narrative. But on the subject of Rare and Sea of Thieves, Everwild, I reckon that'll show up, their new game.
I hope so. I'm really hoping for like Nintendo. I was going to say Nintendo. Really hoping that Xbox is just going to show us a plethora of first party gameplay. I mean, they got all these studios under the Xbox Game Studio banner. So I'm hoping
3 of them now.
So I'm hoping for, well, obviously not for every studio to show us something, but for a lot of them to show us how the game's going to, what the game's going to be. That's what we're waiting for, really. That's what everyone's who's on the fence, who's Xbox fans,
proof in the pudding,
wants to see where all this investment and acquisitions is it going to pay off? Are we going to get like good games? So yeah,
well,
that's what.
From what we know is in development. Obviously, Rare on Everwild. That was announced at XO19, which was November 2019. So that's what's that, a year and a half since that was announced. We still don't really know what the game is, so it'd be nice if they do a bit of a gameplay deep dive on that and sort of take us through what we do in the game. Just echoing what people said when they announced Sea of Thieves. But what do you do? And they were like, "You go and be a pirate." And they were like, "But like, how?"
It's just because it's
kind of in the same place.
It's an unusual game because it's just like, get in your boat, sail around. There's no levels. There's no
adventures.
Yeah, just go make your own adventure. And people are like, "Well, we don't want to make our own adventures. We want you to structure it for us. Yeah, have levels, progression, and all that." But they were like, "No, just here's a boat. You just go around, get supplies, get money, and you can buy more stuff." People are like, "Whoa, that sounds kind of shit." Because we've been not conditioned, but the way we play games is you start off as like with nothing. You build your way up.
Dickhead.
Yeah, you build your way up. And then you become like the Terminator, like near the end of the game. So that's how we, as gamers, we have sort of been
progression.
We've been nurtured that way. But with Sea of Thieves, there's no XP. There's no progression. There's cosmetics, but they don't do anything. They don't give you an advantage in the game.
It's more like the anti-progression game.
It's more like, to get good at the game, you just play it, and your skill levels develop sort of that way. You don't have any sort of like, if I use this spyglass, it will give me a 10% 10% more chance of getting a headshot. It's not. That's not how it is. It's just look. Oh, I put this spyglass on my my sniper. I put this scope on my scope on my sniper rifle. It just looks pretty. That's what it is.
Cool.
It doesn't give you an advantage.
Green rum bottle. That's all.
It doesn't give you an advantage. And like, people have found their own ways of how to play the game. So especially with sailing, everyone's got their own sort of way of playing it, and there's ways of sort of like, well, the word I'm looking for, developing more speed when you're sailing and stuff like that. So it's all little ways of.
I will say, like, I just absolutely love just sailing in that game. Just the basic mechanical act of just sailing the ship. I love it in that game. And it sounds like the most mundane thing, but it's just, there's something about it I just love. And you and me have had some really good times on that game. We haven't played it in a fair while. We don't play it that much anymore, but we've had some really, really fun sessions on it, and just mad stuff happening. Like the time the Megalodon tried to eat our boat.
Yeah. And then
we killed that skull ship when they first launched, and we were like, yeah, it took us like half an hour, and then another one just came out of the water.
It's like, but yeah, like, at least I think Rare are they listen to their community, they listen to the feedback, and they implement like changes and suggestions. So that's always good. They seem like a really good company to work for. So
they always just seem like they're just having the time of their lives at work,
having a good time. Yeah, none of this crunch and stuff like that. What some companies have employees of experience working for.
Here at Rare, we make fun.
Yeah, like they're not being pushed to their limits and their mental health are being affected by it. But so
we know that's Everwild is being developed. We don't know if we'll see it, but hopefully we do. We know.
But what is it? What is Everwild? What is it? Like, do you know?
Nature Man game.
It's a good game.
And Nature Woman game and Nature Everyone Else game. Yeah. No, we don't know, but hopefully we'll find out at E3.
Yeah.
We know of Obsidian are working on Avowed and Grounded. Obviously, Grounded hasn't hit like 1.0 release yet. So maybe we get a date for that, for the proper release of Grounded. I don't think we'll see Avowed because I think it's probably still too early. That trailer they showed last year, people still don't know if that was like an in-engine bit at the end or if it was CGI. So I think it might be too early to see that. Perfect Dark is definitely too early because that was just like announced with like a tone kind of trailer last year. And obviously they're still building the team at the initiative, so I don't think we'll see that. A couple of the Bethesda teams we might see something from because Machine Games haven't announced anything in a while. Their last game was Wolfenstein Youngblood, which came out in 2019, and they co-developed it with Arcane Leon. So at the very least, they've been doing nothing for 2 years. So there's rumors swirling around that they might announce Wolfenstein 3 at E3, and obviously, like Pete Hines from Bethesda has said that they're definitely making a Wolfenstein 3. So I hope that's announced. I love the Machine Games Wolfenstein series. Wolfenstein 2 is mad. The story is completely unhinged. It goes places, and I want to see where that goes from there. And then there's Arcane Austin, the team that made Prey. It came out in 2017. That was their last game, so they haven't put a game out in 4 years. And there's a rumor that they're working on some kind of vampire game called Project Omen. So there's rumors that that's supposedly supposed to be out next spring, so like within the next 9 months. So maybe they announce that and then say it's coming out in like March or April or something next year. And then there's apparently a game that people are calling Typhoon that has been teased by insiders. That is like an independent developer being published by Xbox to make a big sort of a third-party exclusive, but very little is known about that. So maybe we'll see that. I think the only things we can say for certain at this point is Halo, Secret Halo and Starfield. So hopefully they've got a lot of stuff to show. And hopefully it's not just like teaser trailer, which Xbox have kind of fallen into the trap of in the last few years. Just they cram their showcases full of games, but it's all like 90-minute hype trailers, and you never actually very rarely get like a deep dive into some gameplay, which is what you were saying earlier, which I think is what everyone wants, really. You want to see what these games are all about, and that's how you're going to get excited for them.
Yeah.
But it should be fun anyway, because obviously a lot of teams under Microsoft these days have got to start showing stuff at some point.
Exactly.
Start putting stuff out at some point. So.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm excited. I'll like I said, I'll be doing a live stream of that, watching the Xbox showcase. So make sure to check that out on our Twitch channel, Game with Chums.
I'm going to be in Devon with family, so hopefully I won't miss the whole thing.
Yeah, hopefully.
I can find an hour and a half to escape and
watch it. Go look, folks. It's been it's E3. Come on, you know
family
what I mean.
Time's great and all. Yeah. Yes, it's the first holiday we've had since lockdown. But I need to watch E3.
E3, come on now.
This is the E3.
Yeah, this is it.
The big one.
But yeah, so E3 still relevant in my eyes.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, it's an event. Like it's something. Like I would be more excited if I was go, like, obviously I want to go. Like we both would like to go one day. Maybe either we go as pundit, or we go as punters, or we go as we've been invited.
Either this thing blows up and we get
yeah. Who knows?
Go watch those videos.
Yeah, like maybe like it'll be nice to go. It'll be nice to go because I've watched this for God knows how long, for years and years. So we've obviously grown up with it. So
well, I was thinking earlier what my earliest E3 memory is, and I don't actually know, but one I distinctly remember is it must have been E3 2004 when they were showing off Halo 2 multiplayer, and they showed Zanzibar. And so I mean that's what, 17 years ago. And obviously I'm sure I've been watching it longer than that, but I mean, yeah, long time.
But yeah,
I think
that's that, isn't it? That's what
we're gonna wrap it up.
But before we wrap up, what's the plans like for the channel? Like, have we got anything going?
Well, you're always streaming Apex, and on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/again with Chums. Go and check that out, and jump in on Paul's streams and tell him how fantastic he is at Apex.
Or don't, because I play quite bad sometimes. But yeah,
well, you've had a number of wins, so you're doing all right.
I'm doing all right. What we got coming up on the channel? Have we got any new Let's Plays, or we got any new videos?
I finished my Quantum Break Let's Play a few weeks ago, and I haven't started a new one yet. I'm kind of thinking of doing some, just kind of raiding the game shelves and just doing some quick look videos at some point. So maybe within the next week or so, I'll start putting some of those up.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, I put a couple of videos up of the Scarlet Nexus demo, so go check that out. Go play the demo if you haven't, because it's actually really fun. I'm going to buy the game.
Excellent.
But yeah, nothing concrete planned as yet. I'm just going to do some quick looks when I get the chance.
Yeah, obviously we're doing we do the podcasts. I'm doing live stream. I still need to finish Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront. That's like I kind of like that when I haven't uploaded a video from that for like the last month. It's like I've been so busy streaming. I've been so busy streaming. I have everything set up, and I always like take everything apart because I like my setup is just like I don't have like a designated area for it, so I always like take everything like apart afterwards, like unplug everything, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Star Wars. I can't really be bothered to like put everything back together, but I will get back to that. And after that, I know, and we hopefully we'll do a like a co-op game soon, and then it's like we'll still want to do our anime. We'll do an anime podcast, like a topic. We want to do like our what idea did we have? Was it like
taking the piss out of each other's my anime lists?
My anime list. We want to do a video for that. So that's something different. I think.
I imagine it'll be very easy to take the piss out of my anime list.
But well, like it'll be slightly different content. But yeah, apart from like our normal just Let's Play videos, maybe we want to try something a bit different. But yeah.
Also, as you mentioned, obviously the E3 live stream you're going to do in a couple of weeks' time. So
yeah,
watch that. Well, under 2 weeks now. So
yeah, grab a beer. It'll be 6 o'clock. Grab a couple of beers. We'll be watching that. Get comfortable. You know, like hopefully we won't be disappointed, or you know, like hopefully they'll show some gameplay.
Well, at least hopefully it'll be fun.
Yeah, but yeah, come join me at that 6 o'clock UK time for a few beers, and we'll
on the 13th of June.
Yeah, excellent. But we're gonna leave it there because I'm quite hungry now, so I'm gonna go and get something to eat. And thanks. Sorry, you're the host, mate. Sorry. Bloody hell. You want to do the outro?
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there because I'm quite hungry at the moment, and I'm gonna go get something to eat. No, thanks for listening as always. If you're listening on audio, maybe check out the video version at some point and laugh at all my anime figures and Paul's slightly shoddy Persona background, and
it's not great. I've got to get a green screen so it'll take better. But
yeah, let us know in the comments below whether you still like E3, whether you're looking forward to it, and what particularly you're looking forward to. And we will see you after E3. I guess we'll probably do an E3 debrief.
Oh yeah,
podcast.
we will do. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you